Yo, yo, yo. White dads, tonight we are sitting around the campfire telling ghost stories.
Ooh.
Main man Chad, you got a ghost story?
I think I have a couple
Okay.
that we can talk about tonight. So, I grew up in a very small town. So, small towns always seem to be kind of a hotbed for paranormal activity. So, I had a somewhat close encounter that I can't prove, but I think my cousins can at least back me up on this. So, my grandma had an old large house that had the big parlor rooms. So you can imagine like the 10-foot ceilings and the old tapestries and things to that effect. And that house, I swear to everything, had something going on in there. Now,
Like
I
what?
can't, you just got that weird feeling that you were never alone. If you went upstairs, it had a very creepy angled hallway. So you couldn't see directly down the hallway. It was angled. If you went up there to do anything, it just felt eerie and a little spooky. And my grandma would always tell us that someone died in there, so that didn't help the situation for the kids to um, get through that. So other
There
than
was
just
definitely a bloodbath in this room. Good night.
right, yeah, ignore the screaming and the nails crawling up and down the walls. But yeah, my cousins can definitely attest to this. If they ever listen, then they can comment and agree
Okay, so
to
we
what
won't
I'm
look at
saying.
that. Uh huh.
And then we had the fun local legend of the car was driving on the highway, it hit someone, and then they sped away. And now, forever, if you put your car in neutral, the ghost of that person would push you up the hill.
In that specific spot on the
And that's
highway.
right. So you're sitting in your car, you go into neutral, and you appear that you're going up, and your car will just start going up the highway, and that is Ghost Hill. That the spirit pushes you up the hill.
So you actually, you know that you live pretty close to another hill like that here, right? In like
Yeah,
Wales, they've got the Spook Hill.
right. Yeah,
Yeah. Have you
I haven't
done it?
been, but no, I've not. But I assume it's very, and it's a very interesting experience. I will
Yeah.
tell you because you look at it, and you would bet anything that you are going uphill, and then you start picking up speed, and then you start getting a little weird feeling about it because you're like, this shouldn't be happening, and so that's always a good
The
time,
headless horseman is pushing me down the highway. That's weird. Yeah.
right? Yeah, and we lived on the lake shore, so there's tons of shipwrecks and like ghost
Uh,
ship stories that would come out of the graveyards of the Great Lakes up there. So, or the shipyard of the Great Lakes.
well, so you'll appreciate this. You have a good appreciation for a basement
Yes, terrified
because
of basements. Terrified of
so
basements.
so when I was growing up, I was always on the second floor. Every house I ever lived in the Midwest in Kansas City, of course, had a basement. But my bedroom was always on the second floor until I came home one day and my mom had told me I was moving to the basement.
Oh boy, at least
Uh,
it was a finished basement
it was, I didn't say that, but it was. Um,
because my basement at home was like we had bars on the windows.
my,
It
my
was
mom
like,
thought about putting bars on later.
and it had like the access from the outside door.
Right.
So
Yes,
that's some scary stuff.
we had the access from the outside and I used that to throw parties.
No
And
doubt.
that's why the bars went up later. But nevertheless, you're in the basement. I think part of being in the basement is that there is no place where you get as close to total pitch black as in a basement because the entire 2,000 square feet is lit by one by 3 foot window
Right. Yep.
that simply is in the other room and produces zero light. Um, and so I can't say that it was haunted, but I can feel like when I was down there, yeah, something else was down there with me. And I only had to live down there for 2 years like that. So it really wasn't, you really got used to it. I mean, he used to hand me my shaving cream in the morning. It was great.
My fear of basements stems from, and God love my parents, but they let me watch anything I wanted to growing up.
That is a problem.
So circa 1985, 86, I'm watching Nightmare on Elm Street.
Uh-huh.
So one of the key parts of that is a basement sequence where the mom takes the daughter down, pulls the Freddy knives out of the furnace, and then of course throughout the movie something happens and he's chasing her up the basement steps. So at no point in my life, including today, if I go home and I go up those stairs, I move with purpose because I am always concerned. It's like in Home Alone. In Home Alone, there's a whole sequence where he's scared of the basement and the
Right.
furnace. Yeah, I mean
That
that's a
furnace
thing.
is
This is a
evil.
real thing, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I still have that
Yeah.
terror and
Uh,
turmoil from that.
Slightly more modern, I went out with all my friends and the girl that I was dating at the time, and we went to go see I Still Know, either I Still Know or I Don't, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I think it was the original. And yeah, going to the movie with your friends seems like a good idea. The problem is that you go home alone
Right.
and no one is awake when you get home and you walk into your dark house and you're pretty sure that the killer was not killed by Jennifer Love Hewitt, but is
Right.
actually waiting for you somewhere in that house.
Yeah, I
So
can totally relate to that. I loved, still do horror movies, but still it get a little
oh,
weird
they're
if
gonna
I'm
say Jennifer
home.
Love Hewitt.
Well, at the time,
Right.
I mean, age happens to everyone, including us.
Right. Oh, no doubt. Which is why we're in the dark tonight.
That's right. Yeah, we didn't have the right spotlight today. But
Actually,
yeah, the horror when I would get scared of the Michael Myers movies, and I would also have the mask in my room, so that didn't help.
yeah. Right. No. The mask would have to go. I mean, the only use for that mask would be using it on one of my sisters in the middle of the night or something. But
Right.
like, yeah, it would be in a sock drawer until it was go time.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want that just hanging out.
No, thank you. Well, speaking of which, the reason that we are here tonight is we have a special guest. Do you want to do the intros here?
So we are very lucky today because something that used to be and still would be very near and dear to my heart is ghost hunting. So let me real quick before we bring on our guests, let me tell you about my love of ghost hunting through 2008 till probably 2 months later in 2008. It was a very brief but very intense love affair with ghost hunting. It was when the show Ghost Hunters was at its peak, and I was living in Virginia, which is a hot spot because there's a lot of old colonial things in Virginia. So I was all into the ghost hunting. I would go places. I would take the spotlight at night. We would look for shadows. We would do the EVPs with the voice recording and try to find things. So I mean, I this is something that is very near and dear to my heart. So I'm very excited for this conversation we're about to have today.
We would like to welcome to the show Carlton. Carlton, welcome to the
Good, how
show.
are
How
you?
are you?
Thank you.
We're doing really good, and we are super excited to have you
Thank
here
you
today.
for having me.
Um, you have obviously more ghost hunting experience than the both of us combined and multiplied. So we would love to hear kind of what got you started in the ghost hunting field.
For the most part, I had stuff when I was a kid. Few things happened to me. I was about 11 years old. I was up. I think the house I grew up in was haunted, straight up. That's just.
Oh,
Well,
okay. Like, were they scary
some of them,
experiences?
yeah. I would see shadows, little. My brother, we all saw them. They're like little shadows that would shoot by, and it's just. But I was upstairs in my room, sitting on the floor, 11, maybe 10 years old. I don't remember exactly. And just out of nowhere, I felt a hand like come down on my leg like that and just kind of grab my leg. For the most part, I
Oh
just
Boy,
flew down the stairs screaming, top of my lungs. Um,
yeah, time to move.
yeah, that house always, it had an old Michigan basement. It was just creepy as it was. And
yeah.
yeah, there was a few things that happened.
So did you live there for the rest of your
Yeah, I
childhood?
grew up in that house. Yes, moved in there.
Oh,
Moved in
Wow.
there was about I was about 6 years old. The one next door to me,
You
my
were
best friend lived next door. His was haunted too. I don't know if it was the block itself. I
There's the
Yeah.
Indian burial ground right there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there it is.
Something was going on because I I had a couple things. I was at my grandma's who lived in Virginia. We used to go down and visit, and sometimes they'd leave me there and I'd stay in the summer and stuff. And I know I was awake. I know I wasn't dreaming it. I was about 12, I think. And I was rolling around trying to get to sleep. And then I just looked, and standing at the end of my bed was an old, I mean, really old woman. I mean, not see through. It was like right in front of me.
It looked like a real
Yeah,
person.
but really so old that it was terrifying. You know what I'm saying? Like almost decaying.
Was she
There
glowing?
may have been kind of a glow to it. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
first thing I thought was my grandma, because she had like these two twin beds and she was in the other one. So I looked over there and she's still laying there sleeping. And I looked back and it's
No.
still standing there. I kind of go under the covers a couple times, finally take them down, and she was gone. That went on for about 5 minutes.
Oh
I
my
was,
gosh.
I was,
Oh
I
my
was too scared to get
goodness.
out of the bed. I, yeah, that. So kind of stuff like that, and then it just progressed, and I got older, and just started.
Yeah, who could blame you? So you were terrorized as a child
Yeah,
living in this house your whole
more or
life.
less.
And then you go to visit grandma and
Yeah,
same things happen.
I sometimes I wonder if it's called an attachment. A lot of people say it follows you home. It's more like an
Right.
Yeah.
attachment. It'll
That's what I
attach
was going to
itself to
ask.
you, and you take it back to your house, more or less. I have a feeling a couple
So is that how it goes? Is it attached to a place or can it also be attached to a person?
person. It can be attached to an object. I bring all kinds. Between me and my wife, we bring so much old, creepy stuff into the house. I'm surprised this one hasn't started yet, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah, that's what really
Wow. Well,
brought me. And the older I got, I was always interested in that kind of stuff. UFOs, Bigfoot.
I would definitely be convinced after an upbringing like
Yeah,
that for sure. Um so but then you took that and into
yes,
adulthood, you said to yourself, I need more of
yeah,
this in my life.
more or less.
So
Right.
It's very interesting. Just some of the history too of these places that you go. Awful stuff. I mean, some of it's
yeah,
just
no doubt.
unreal. And that just,
I went on a tour in New Orleans and it was, a nighttime ghost tour. It's what it was supposed to be. And yeah, to hear them tell the stories about how, this was a home from the 1800s and they made the slaves stay in the
yes,
attic. And one night there was a house fire and everybody got out, but nobody told
I
the slaves.
I've
And
heard that
so,
story before. Yes.
oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just
Yeah,
unfathomable
there's
things.
so many. And not just, you get different kind of energies. Bad things happen in a house. Usually there's bad energy wrong with.
Right. It stays there.
Yes.
Uh, okay, so then in your years of seeking out these types of experiences, where are some of the most haunted places you've ever been?
Lemp, excuse me, Lemp Mansion is in St. Louis. That was probably the most haunted place that I've been in. Besides,
All
What's
right,
the backstory there?
set the scene.
the hospital in Georgia was really close, right up there with it. But Lemp Mansion, because we stayed in there. It was like 5 or 6 of us, and they gave us the whole house. And I was upstairs. I had a room upstairs in the attic. I can give a
By
little bit of
yourself?
background. They were, oh God, now I can't. Lemp, the family, brewers. They
Uh-huh.
had a brewery. There was a dad, a couple brothers. Anheuser-Busch moved in. They started declining. Like, I think 3 of them committed suicide in the house. The, the
Oh, wow.
dad
Whoa.
and
Yeah. That's some
yeah, the
bad
dad
energy
and the
there.
2 brothers both did it. So when you walk in a place like that, you feel it. I don't care who you are. You believe or don't believe.
Yeah.
there's a feeling when you walk in someplace like that. And it hit me wherever you walked in the front
Yeah.
door. It was like right in the face. It during the day.
Is it just like a heavy
Yes.
feeling?
Yeah,
Like you can
there's
like
some rooms I couldn't breathe
heavy
in.
and
That's that heavy. You kind of lose your breath,
yeah.
the chills, all of it. Um,
So you
Yeah.
slept in this
yes.
attic by yourself.
Terrified. I was
Did you?
terrified.
Well, I guess I should say, did you
I
sleep,
didn't
or were
sleep
you
much.
just awake in
I
this
did not
attic all
sleep
night?
much. I have a habit wherever I go to, if it's even said to be haunted, I will set up a camera in the room and just let it run all night. So
Yeah.
I've looked at a few of them, and I was awake most of the night through it. But I felt like there
Yeah.
was something in the room the entire time. The entire time I was laying there.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then you start
I'm
hearing
sure.
stuff. Voices.
So has the camera ever shown you anything interesting in the morning?
EVPs, voices, I have not really. There's a couple times I've caught, because there's a thing, a orb. You know what that is? Orbs are like,
Right. It's a little like fractal
but
of light
a
on a
lot of
picture.
people, it's dust, it's bugs, there's so many things that you can mistake it for. But I think I know what an actual. I sent you one. I don't know. Yeah, I think that is what an orb looks like. But as
Yeah.
far as a full body apparition, they're hard. They're hard to catch. It's one of those things that it's the holy grail of it, because most people don't get it.
Of course.
I've seen it, but I have never caught it on camera.
I feel like if maybe you went back to your childhood home, you'd stand a decent chance, right,
Yeah.
of this now 600-year-old woman at
Yeah,
the edge of your bed.
exactly.
Now-
Exactly. And that's about how old she looks.
Now-
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
Now with the EVPs, what's that
it's
stand for?
electronic voice phenomenon. Because it's
All right.
supposed to be, they're based on energy. So they're supposedly be able to manipulate like a voice recorder. It sounds ridiculous, but
Right. No. It makes sense. It's like, yeah, all the energy they can collect, it translates into what is a sort of a weak energetic presence here on our plane, but the fact that they're crossing planes to do
yeah.
it is
And
obviously phenomenal.
Yeah.
like as far as the energy thing, like I went into that hospital once. We just went in, fresh batteries and everything. You go in, I'm in there 5 minutes, my flashlight dies, battery's dead. That happened.
Just
Yeah,
draining out.
and as a person, it's the same thing. I go on these hunts, and by the time it's done, I am wiped out, totally drained.
But yeah, I can't
Because
imagine,
can
because
supposedly
you are a
they
braver
can
person than I am.
supposedly use your energy too.
Oh, I see. That makes sense.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up one of the EVPs that you had sent over to us, and we're going to take a listen to it real quick. And you can kind of give us an idea of what we're listening to. So, I mean, I listened to it obviously, so I'm going to kind of cut it down here to the part where it sounds like you're asking if there are any
Yeah, that was
doctors
my
in the room.
brother.
So we'll listen in and see if we can catch it here.
How many doctors are in here?
That's just class A. That's a clear one. I mean,
Yeah.
that is the clearest one I think I have got.
Yeah,
Now-
I mean, that's in dispute. I mean, that's clear as day that there's definitely
I
somebody
react
saying,
at the end of it, but it's
What?
not because I heard it. It's because I had a K2 meter next to me, and it went off
That jumped.
right before that.
Got it. And so let's take a step back. So what is some of the equipment that you walk in there with? You just mentioned a K2 meter. So that's
more or less
measuring
EMF.
electricity.
Yeah, it's kind of the EMF meters. There's the REM pods. It's the same kind of concept, but they can design them now where it won't pick up radio signals and stuff like that. So all it's really picking up,
Oh, less
if anything
interference.
gets
right. So the theory is that the spirit
Exactly.
triggers the radar or the
Yeah.
device, and then you see a
because,
spike
like I said,
in
it's all about energy.
readings.
This is how that's the
Yeah.
theory.
Right.
It makes sense.
Absolutely. So is that your main go-to
Yeah,
device
those are
then?
really and any kind of good recording device. I have a
Yeah. As long as the
yeah, yeah.
batteries keep.
Not it does
Yeah.
drain. I have cameras just charged up, just drained like that. But cameras are very important. Um, I've been known to use dowsing rods, you know, the things they look for
Oh,
water
yeah.
for and stuff. Those, so
Yeah, yeah.
And with those you can feel the
it'll
energy?
move that, and it also will move the rods. You can ask
Mm.
questions, kind of thing. It's
Have you had success with that? Have you felt like a spirit has
I
been
have more
responsive?
success with the um, when you hang on a string. You know, you can ask yes or
Oh,
no questions.
got it.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, was it safe to say you were actually having like a proper
I have,
conversation?
yeah,
Were you able to ask questions, get answers?
I have.
So, what were the, I guess, what questions were you
I ask
asking?
basic. Usually start off. You have to do yes or no that way. That's why I like to do the EVPs better because you can actually ask questions and get answers.
Yeah, you
Some
can hear
people
the
will.
response back
Some
better.
people
Yeah.
take a flashlight, kind of barely unscrew it, so it's kind of at the point where it's almost touching but isn't, and then ask questions, and the
Yeah,
flashlight will flash on. I don't know, yes or no.
flicker.
Oh, so when they're getting
I've
closer,
never
it can,
used
yeah,
that
pull the
one, but
energy.
that's one I agree.
Now, when you do it, do you do most of your recordings at
I
night, or because obviously, like when
I
this stuff's
have
on TV, it's always at night, and they have
yeah, it's better at
the night
night, but
vision on.
I've had things in the day. Blunt Mansion, that whistle. I don't know if you got that one that I sent to you.
I don't think we got that one,
Well,
or if we have,
it
we don't
was
have
in
it
the
queued
middle of
up.
the day, and I was just asking questions. And there's a story about one of the brothers. After he killed his dog first before he killed himself, and I'm sitting there asking questions, and the same thing. The K2 goes off, and I say, "Are you here?" And then, like 2 seconds, just a plain as day. I was the only one in the
Wow,
house, and it was
that's
coming from the
wild.
room like right next to me. I don't know if he was whistling for his dog.
So, did you went to investigate and
Nothing.
nothing?
Nobody in the house. I had
That's crazy.
So you said the mansion was the most haunted place you've been. So even more so than the
prison
penitentiary
was
or the
yeah, the
hospital.
prison was it's a brushy mountain state penitentiary in Tennessee. Big,
Okay,
horrible place. I mean, they treated prisoners like another place that everything that happened in there is bad.
Yeah.
right.
Shadows were shadow people, they like to call them. I mean, I went down in the hole, which is like by myself. Everybody else was in a different building. I'm in the building by myself. So I get down in the basement, and I don't even know how big the place was, but they called it the hole for a reason. So I sat in there,
Yeah.
just sat. I start hearing voices. There's nobody in there. I know there's nobody.
Yeah.
And I kind of step out, and there's a black, it looked like in person kind of form, shadow standing in the doorway, jets out of the doorway when I look up. That that
Whoa.
that
So before you go down and do something like this, are you psyching yourself up, or are you're just
I'm
cool
the
as it can be and you just
yeah,
hop
I'm the
down
type
there?
if I'm with a group and they tell me to stay with the group, I wander off. I kind of break the rules. So yeah, I'll go.
Yeah.
I go any. It doesn't matter. I'll go anywhere. I like to be by
You're sitting
myself
in the hole by
sometimes.
yourself. I mean, yeah.
Better,
Yeah.
quieter. So yeah, I'll be the first to go somewhere where I shouldn't probably go. Terrifying. That
Yeah,
prison,
no.
yeah, the
So,
hospital is number two, I think, because there was something. There was just something in there that was bad.
Yeah.
the hospital was separate from the
The hospital's
penitentiary?
in Georgia. Yeah, that was one of the first ones
Oh,
I
okay.
went in. Actually, was the hospital.
Got it. And what was the story there? Was it one of the old, like, insane
I think they had
asylums?
floor for that, but it was everything. It was a small town, and this big creepy hospital just sits right in the middle of it. And it's run down. It was dangerous. We probably shouldn't have been in there anyways. We had permission, but there
Sure.
was floorboards falling
But
through.
whatever.
Very scary.
Yeah.
Footsteps all the time. That's where I got the EVP in the operating room.
Yeah.
So when you find a location you want to go to, do you just reach out to whoever is controlling it and then ask for permission?
I wish I had those kind of connections, but a lot of the times I got to give a shout out to my wife's cousin, Janet, because she has got me into most of these. But yeah, you have
Thanks,
to get
Janet.
permission. I would I have went to places where I didn't have permission by myself, just kind of graveyards and stuff. But yeah, you have to get a hold of the owner and then kind of go through if they want you in there, if they don't want you in there, kind
The
of
channels.
Yeah. Do you find any action at the graveyards? Because obviously you
Graveyards
think
are
that'd be
hard
a
to
hot
do
spot.
unless they're like out in the woods, in the middle of the woods somewhere. Because if they're like on the side of the road, you got traffic, you got sounds, you can't really. I'm not a big fan of doing the graveyard.
Yeah, you gotta deal with nature. Nature causes
There are
problems
some
in
places that are
environment.
outside that I would like to go, but graveyards are just kind of hard to do. Lighting.
All right. So the spookiest was the penitentiary in Tennessee or the hospital in Georgia?
The hospital in Georgia was scarier than believe it or not. Yeah.
Do you have like a whole story like you had in Tennessee from the hospital?
Right before that video, that EVP I sent you guys, me and my brother were in the front, like the lobby, more or less. It's like I said, it was so you didn't know where you were, and we were doing the thing, asking questions and then just both of us at the same time. It started from my feet, almost like a tingling, numb kind of feeling. Started moving up at both of us at the exact same time, moving up our legs. It's right after that is when we went up to the operating room where that EVP was.
That didn't deter you. You said, let's press on.
And it's like in the beginning of that, you almost hear somebody say, someone's following you. And I believe that's what happened. I think it went from that room because we said, because that was getting kind of intense in there. It started dying down a little bit. So we said, let's go up operating room. And it was like it was like it followed us up there. Same feeling.
Oh my gosh.
Those EVPs, all that. I've been in that place a couple times, 2 or 3.
See, all this stuff sounds really cool until you're faced with it. Like I would say to myself, yes, I'm all in for that. And then it happens and I would just go in the corner and cry.
I look for it. I want to see it, hear it.
Well, you grew up with it. So
right, yeah. Yeah, granny on the corner of the bed.
I'll never forget. I don't care what anybody says. I was awake. I know.
Yeah, right. I mean, it happened multiple times over multiple days.
It's
so
one of those things that I know when I'm awake too, even at 11, 10, I don't even 10 years old, I think.
Yeah.
So what places are on your bucket list? Are the places you want to hit the most?
There's a hospital in Louisville, Kentucky. It's Waverly Hills Sanitarium. That's big bucket list. That place I think is just off the hook.
Got it. So is Janet helping you
I
out
have
to
brought
get in
it
there?
up to her, yes. So I'm hoping she can.
Okay.
I wish I did have a connection.
Your manager, your agent?
She's been in there, so I think she can get back in. So she's been in there.
Oh, okay. So did she attest to the hauntedness?
As in,
did she say what on her visit that she had an experience?
She said it was pretty intense in there. Yeah. You can go. You can go into one of the supposedly most haunted places in the world and go in there at night and nothing. You can't. It's not something you can do on command. It just has to happen. And if it's not active, you're in an old creepy house. That's what
you're just hanging out. You're just sleeping in a dilapidated house all of a sudden.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I got to say though, me and my wife went to Savannah, Georgia, and we got a room in 1790 Inn. It's on the Ghost Tour, so it's haunted.
Okay.
That place was pretty scary, actually. That was one of those. It was one of those
Really?
places where it was hard to sleep because it felt like there were people in the room. One of those, people looking at you. That
Oh,
that place was. I forgot about that.
and she felt it
Oh yeah,
too?
she woke up in the middle of the night, terrified. Because I it feels like there's somebody standing right next to me. And there might be. Just kind of close your eyes.
Yeah, no.
I'm surprised I got her to
You
go.
again are a braver man than me.
I,
So is some people, do you believe some
yeah,
people are
oh
more sensitive to having an experience
yes,
than others?
of course.
Okay. And is there can you predict that? Like if you're just having a conversation with someone, is there a question you could ask them to figure out whether they're more likely to have an event happen to them?
A lot of people, they call them sensitives. They're more open to it, I guess. I mean, I can walk
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
into a house and I can tell you if I get a feeling about it.
A
I
vibe.
have
Right.
that, but I can't, I don't talk to them, see them, I'm not that kind of, they got people that will go in there
Right.
and say they can, and I'm sure there's some that can't.
Yeah, no, I definitely believe in that. I have a buddy who lived in a building in LA and it was in a good zip code and it was a nice building. And he called me and said, "Well, the neighbor jumped." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said he jumped off the balcony. I said, "Well, that's not a good sign." And he said, "Well, of course." And then we had a mutual friend, and he went to the guy's building, and he had no idea what had happened to the neighbor. And he walked in, sat on his couch, and said, "We got to get out of
Man,
here." And he said, "Why?" He goes, "There's just a weird energy to this place." And I don't even think it was directly related to the guy next door. I think that there had been a series of unfortunate events in that particular building. And like you said, my buddy who lived there couldn't feel it, but our mutual friend walked in and
you know,
instantly went, "What is going on in
kids,
here?"
Yeah. Game
kids
over.
are good at it. Small kids,
Oh, and
Oh,
animals, I would
animals,
imagine.
yeah. Animals. They always show animals depicting
cats.
animals, sensing things, dogs and
Yeah, but
cats.
kids are,
Yeah.
so if they ever tell you they have an imaginary friend, you might want to look into it.
Right. All
Check in
right.
on
Pack up
that.
your stuff, Timmy.
Yeah.
Some
We're
place.
leaving.
Right. I I know a man named
Yeah,
Carlton, and he
Yeah.
went through this, but we're not going to do it to you.
yeah, it's true. Yes, a lot of
Oh,
people are more sensitive to it than others.
yeah.
Makes
That
sense.
I may be super sensitive, but my goal is to stay far enough away that I will never find out
We ought to go
because.
sometime just to check it out. You might.
Okay.
Well,
All
to
right.
that point, what are the local haunts?
There's a lot in Lakeland. I don't know how to get in them, honestly. I think the theater, the Polk. I
Well,
think the
Janet.
Polk Theater is one of them, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
Oh,
and their basement just
I've heard
flooded.
stories about that place,
Yeah.
and I know there's graveyards, but like I said, I'm not really into it. But I've looked around. There
Yeah.
are some places.
yeah. The
Okay.
Polk Theater does have that creepy vibe.
A lot
Obviously,
of
it's
theaters
old,
are
and I'm
like
sure
a
there's
lot
some
of the
things that have
older
happened.
theaters are like that. Kind of got that.
Yeah.
We should take some equipment in there. I would do that.
Yeah,
I would
I
go
think
in
if you
there
could
as
get
the
their permission to
scientist
go in
and
there,
yeah.
Yeah, that would be an interesting trip. Yeah, I think we can make some phone calls.
And when white dads can't jump call,
That's
normally,
right. People
normally nothing
people answer.
happens.
Well, we haven't tried yet. We're still at
you can
100%.
help me out. Let me know.
So,
I'd love to.
yeah, absolutely. Trust me, I'm not going in there without you.
Yeah. This isn't going to be a two of us just roll in with our phones.
Right. I'm not standing behind Chad.
It
So,
can be scary. That-
so Carlton, so you do have, are you going back to
yes,
Gettysburg? Is that
I
the plan?
first time actually. Never been there.
Oh,
The
okay.
end of
First
May.
time. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
Gettysburg
yeah.
has to be a gimme
Yes.
when it comes
Even
to
I got
experiences.
a room. The place is called the Inn at Cemetery Hill. I guess the cemetery's right there. So
Seems ominous.
it
Nice.
is. There's rumors that it is haunted. So I'm bringing my stuff and
Yeah,
nothing
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I've been there. I've been there a few times, and I've done the ghost walk, and I've done the staying in the not that particular inn, but one of the inns, and you get
Yeah.
a creepy vibe. Obviously, I mean, thousands of people died in a 3-day
Yes.
period, so I mean, you're gonna get some
And
some action, and it was obviously intense deaths that was
I
going
wish they
going
would,
on.
but they won't let you go on the battlefields and do it. But there are some spots
Yeah.
that she's already got kind of planned out to hit. So I'm hoping for a good one.
Yeah. I remember one night we were there driving around at night, and you just get a weird vibe. And it also doesn't help that they have
Oh,
statues
yeah.
in the woods. So you go around a corner and you see a statue and you're
I
like, oh
know.
my God, what
There's
is
a
that? And you're
certain
like,
bridge,
okay,
and I can't think of
just a
the name
statue.
of the bridge right offhand, but that's one of the spots she mentioned going to. So I heard it's pretty active.
Mm.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, that'll be a good time.
That's
For
end of
sure.
May, I think. So I'm looking forward to that one.
End of okay.
Like you said, there's got to be something going on there with everything that happened.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Well, we always like to wrap up here things with a top 5 list. So, Carlton, we are going to leave it to you. If you had to rank the top 5 creepiest places in America, or let's go in reverse order, what would be number 5?
Because it has to be
Or we can start at
anywhere.
number 1. Yeah.
Anywhere.
Lighthouse St. Augustine.
Oh. Okay.
Okay.
All right, number 5, Lighthouse St. Augustine. All right, number 4.
I gotta go with. I'm gonna throw the penitentiary, Brushy Mountain, and number 4.
Yeah, I can I can see
Yeah,
why that made
that's
the
fair.
list.
Yeah,
The
that's
whole.
fair.
All right, number 3.
Never been, but Waverly Hills. But probably if I'd been there,
Waverly
it'd
House.
probably
Yep.
be number
I see
1.
that on the list as one of the scariest. Yeah. Okay, so what'd you say?
Number
2?
2 would be the hospital. It was called the Old Taylor Memorial Hospital, Hawkinsville, Georgia.
Georgia. Okay, Old Memorial Taylor in Georgia.
Yeah.
And drumroll,
Oh,
please.
it's
The
like
number
Mansion,
1.
no doubt about it.
Oh, in St.
Oh,
Louis.
yeah.
Okay, so they're right
Well, it's
about
got to
that.
be hard to top.
All
Uh,
right.
Well, hopefully in Gettysburg
I'm
you'll find
hoping.
some action,
I'll,
and maybe you can put
I'm
that
gonna
one on
look
the
around,
list.
see if there's anywhere else we can get in. If you guys are interested, you can.
Okay, yeah. Well, I say reluctantly. I guarantee you that I will make it to the curb in front of wherever we're going, and then it's going to be a game time decision from there that point.
I
But
think you can.
Carlton, thank you so much for joining us
Dennis,
today.
well,
These stories have been awesome, and we couldn't have done it
thank you
without
very.
you. No old ladies at
I
the end of
hope
the
not.
bed.
I don't want to
Fingers
see that
crossed.
again.
Fingers crossed.
Thanks.
All right, main man Chad, that was good. And White Dads, thank you very much.